All right, welcome everyone. This is Stream 1, Session 2. We have got a nice, robust group joining in, and so we will pass the mic over to James to tell us about his amazing project.
Shannon. So welcome everybody. I am James Matthew Mortel Bessa, a fourth-year nursing student of color at the University of Victoria at Selkirk College. And I'm also the People of Color Caucus Chair of the Canadian Nursing Students Association year 2021 and 2022. Today, I'm going to discuss my research project with the title Racism in Nursing Schools, Canadian Undergraduate Registered Nursing, Practical Nursing, and Psychiatric Nursing Students' Perspectives. But before we begin, I would like to mention that you will see the quick response code located at the upper right-hand corner of your screen throughout the presentation. You can scan this QR code to access the Diversity Embracement Project's online information page. So, you ready? Let's go. So the picture in the background highlights the beautiful landscape of Nelson, British Columbia in Canada, which I took way back in 2019. I am a student of Selkirk College, a school erected and presently operating in the traditional and unceded territory of the West Guinean boundary regions, the Sinixt, the Silix, the Tanaha, and the Sequepic peoples. I recognize that I live, work, and study in the traditional unceded lands of the Sinixt people, who were previously declared extinct by the Government of Canada in 1956. This resulted in the violation of the Sinixt people's rights to obtain land title in this territory. I recognize the kidnappings and homicides of Indigenous people not only in our local region, but in Canada as a whole. The broken treaty relationships, colonization, erection of residential schools, and continued attempts of the Canadian government and private companies to control the Indigenous family unit, resources, and access to services. I am committed to making efforts towards reconciliation. Next, I want to express my deepest gratitude to first, Ms. Julia Langham, my research field guide, for her undying energy, massive amount of knowledge, guidance, and support throughout this research journey. Next, Ms. Shannon Langton-Shaw, my practice instructor, who's also here, and Tammy Clark, our school head, for helping me turn this self-initiated work accredited as my formal project in nursing school this semester. Next, Svea Maynard, my research instructor, for providing feedback on my literature review. The student leaders of the Canadian Nursing Students Association, may it be the official delegates, administrative council members, and members of the board of directors, for funding this research project, advertising the project in the respective schools, and recruiting the participants. Lastly, my family, especially my mother, Abigail Bessa, who's not here, for her undying love and support, which I think died today, but just kidding. So today, our agenda consists of the following. First, the background. Second is the literature review. I'll discuss the study, and under the study, I will discuss the methods, results, and limitations. Fourth, recommendations. Fifth is the unresolved racism in nursing theory. Six is my poetic thought, and at the very end of my presentation, I will encourage each and every one of you to ask questions. We have 10 minutes to discuss it. Let's talk about the background. So as you can see in the diagram in your screen, this study is a response to the gap in the literature, which I will explore further in the following section, and the recommendations of Jeffries et al. 2019, which stated that, quote unquote, recruitment and retention strategies must explicitly address the invisibility, underrepresentation, and racism experienced by visible minorities in nursing. Now let's move on to the literature review. In the literature review, I found 51 records in the CINAHL, Medline, PubMed, and Google Scholar databases, screened 43 articles, and assessed 37 full-text articles for eligibility. After the process of elimination, 24 studies have met the inclusion criteria. After conducting a comprehensive literature search using the aforementioned online databases, I found the following points in the included 24 studies. Number one, only 8 out of 24 studies explored the patterns and levels of racism in the Canadian healthcare. Number two, there are 0 articles discussed that discussed internalized racism in the Canadian context, nor internalized racism specifically studied in the undergraduate nursing student population. Number 3, only one article talks explicitly about personally mediated racism in the Canadian context and expressly incorporated the response of an undergraduate nursing student participant. Number 4, among the 7 articles included that discuss institutionalized racism in nursing schools and healthcare settings, it's good that there's 5 studies that explains institutionalized racism in Canada. However, there's only 2 literature or articles that incorporated undergraduate nursing student participants. 5th, most of the articles I used used relatively small samples or only included one group in their study, which does not represent other members of the Black, Indigenous, or people of color community, making it difficult to suggest generalizability. Lastly, there was a low level of evidence found in the literature review, with 15 of the studies following a qualitative research design. Let's move on to the study. So the DIVE project, or the Diversity Embracement Project, is a Canada-wide research project funded by the Canadian Nursing Students Association 2021 and 2022. This project aims to understand the patterns and levels of racism that nursing students have experienced or witnessed in nursing schools in their practice partner sites across Canada. In this project, we handed out QR codes that allows participants to access the survey form online in 67 nursing schools across Canada that are members of the CNSA to identify the themes of experiences nursing students had in racism. The information in this study will be shared to nursing school personnel with the hope of inspiring these leaders to fight racism in nursing schools across the country. Now let's discuss the methodology. In this study, I used qualitative short narrative inquiry approach to interview 40 nursing student participants from undergraduate registered nursing, practical nursing, and psychiatric nursing programs across Canada through an online survey to identify the themes of experiences they had in racism. The project's implementation phase or plan is separated into 2 phases, the inquiry phase and the action phase. In the inquiry phase, we recruited nursing schools. So CNSA regional directors and CNSA official delegates in all 67 partner schools across Canada were contacted by email and asked to forward the project information to their nursing school heads, deans, chairpersons, and faculty representatives, and request their collaboration in the DIVE project. Number 2, in this phase, we recruited the participants. I requested the support and participation of nursing school heads, deans, chairpersons, and nursing faculty representatives in the following points. Number 1, to let nursing instructors hand out the QR codes and hyperlinks to students, maybe via mail, during synchronized online class time, or during an in-person class. Number 2, to provide a list of emotional and mental health resources to nursing student participants. And lastly, to allow CNSA chapter school ODs and ADs to post the project's advertisement posters and videos in their school premises or online social media websites. Next, in this phase, we supported the mental health of the participants. So to ensure that the participants have adequate mental health support in place, I attached a QR code and hyperlinks to the advertisement poster, the end part of the informed consent form, and the survey questionnaire, which allowed the participants to access the DIVE project's online information page. On the online information page, the participants may view the list of mental health resources, may it be online contact information, in-person visiting information, hotlines, and many more, available across the country, all listed per province or territory. Next, this report is part of the project's action phase. In the action phase, they gathered information about racist acts present in each school and healthcare settings were collected by me, the author, and the collated data from the 40 participants were analyzed and summarized by the author in this report. Now, let's talk about the results, but before that, let's meet the 40 participants first. So 63% of the participants are non-Black, Indigenous, and people of color, nursing students. 12% are Black nursing students, 15% are Indigenous nursing students, and 10% of the nursing student participants identify themselves as people of color. Next, let's move on to the next phase. 30% of the participants experienced racism towards themselves in nursing schools, practice partner sites, and even in online platforms, on the streets, events, clients' homes, in malls, and even in government offices, such as police stations. 25% of the participants have identified racist behaviors and thoughts that they've portrayed towards their colleagues, patients, teachers, and many more in nursing schools and during practice. Third point, 55% of the participants witnessed racism or racist acts in nursing schools, wherein most of them happened within the school premises and partner healthcare premises. Uh, Next point, the number of student participants, which is 15, saying that they feel supported in voicing out these social injustice acts to nursing school personnel is equal to the number of participants, which is also 15, who do not. Lastly, 26% of participants said they didn't feel supported in meeting their mental and emotional health needs when they experienced or witnessed racism, whereas 18% said yes always, 21% said yes sometimes, 8% said yes seldom, and 28% said not applicable. Next, let's move on to the themes. So in this study, I found 3 key themes. Number 1, that nursing students experience different levels of racism in Canadian nursing schools. Under institutionalized racism, student 7, a nursing student of color, wrote the following testimony. The situation was clear as day. Teachers, certain ones, were made aware, but no actions were taken to stop the other person or be direct with them about stopping. It is disgusting. Under personally mediated racism, student 7 pointed out a situation where they were bullied by other students and unfairly treated by nursing school security personnel due to their religious and ethnic background. Third, under internalized racism, student 2, an Indigenous nursing student, explained in the following testimony. They, Indigenous patients, have diabetes because they are Indigenous and because of the lifestyle that they have on the reserve. Major assumptions here. Next, in team 2, I found that nursing students spot educational development concerns. Under point 1, with the title Reports of Unfair Treatment Towards BPOC Nursing Students, a student said that, or talked about the experience of their nursing student of color friends being quote unquote graded harsher by nursing instructors than white nursing students. Under point 2, with the title Faustian Plot, Silencing Whistleblowers to Make Practice Partner Site Personnel Happy. Student 1 said, we are told to keep our practice partner happy because we need them for placements. Therefore, I feel that they don't want to make waves. Next, in team 3, I found that nursing students are eager to fight racism in Canadian nursing schools. Under point 1, students' emotion towards racism, student 16 expressed their emotions such as quote unquote shocking and very upsetting when some of their colleagues unintentionally showed ignorance regarding racism, which reflects their racist nursing curriculum. Lastly, under point 2, with the title Students' Anti-Racist Ideas and Suggestions, student 38 urged the nursing leaders in the following testimony to hire more BPOC faculty and staff members. They said, hire more people of color staff. Representation matters. People will voice their opinions to someone like them rather than getting dismissed. Let's move on. Limitations of the study. So in this study, I found multiple limitations. Number 1, small study size. Due to changes in leadership, long ethics application processes in some universities, lack of faculty support due to unknown reason, and miscommunication, not all students from all 67 universities of partners of CNSA were able to participate in this study. Number 2, the anonymity design. This design prevented analysis of which school participated. Thus, it is unclear if the examples are representative of school across Canada. Number 3, the qualitative design. The data gathered are personal and subjective. And lastly, In this study, I failed to fully explore the intersectionality that goes along with racism that BPOC nursing students face in nursing schools. Next, in this study, I came up with 5 recommendations. So I recommend that by September 2023, nursing student leaders and practice partners sites, number 1, initiate yearly mandatory anti-racism training, cultural safety training, and anti-racism examination for faculty members and applicants, allied health professionals, and administrative personnel of nursing schools. Number 2, incorporate anti-racism trainings and workshops in the nursing curriculums, including simulation classes about facing racism in the practice setting. Number 3, implement strategies that aim to promote the recruitment and retention of BPOC faculty members, mentors, and nursing students, and incorporate BPOC's perspective in nursing pedagogy. Number 4, further explore racial biases present in current healthcare practice. And lastly, implement a zero racism tolerance policy in nursing schools and healthcare settings. Next, let's discuss my unresolved racism in nursing theory, diverse drowning boat tale. In this theory, imagine that we are all divers in a drowning boat. In this boat, racism and its interrelated effects add a lot of weight to the boat, which causes it to drown. The downward arrows signify the downward motion of the boat and our decreasing chances of surviving and evolving. With unresolved racism in nursing, there will be a decrease of the BPOC's entry and retention in the nursing academia and workforce, and a decrease in BPOC student entry and retention in nursing schools. This will lead to decrease in BPOC healthcare workers, globally affecting the workforce. The issue of the healthcare workforce then lead to a decrease in healthcare quality and delivery, which will compromise or decrease the health of the general public, both white and BPOC individuals in Canada. The decrease in the health of the general public leads to the decline or decrease in both provincial and federal economy, which then affects the entry and retention of the nursing students of color in nursing schools due to the social determinants of health correlated with income and the economy, repeating the destructive cycle. Now, if we remove the racism and resolve or address the issues related to it, the boat will rise up, which increases our chances of surviving and evolving. Now, since I decided to call myself an amateur poet for a long time now, 6 days ago, before I end this presentation, I want to share with you my poetic thought. I wrote this while watching a wildlife-related documentary narrated by David Attenborough. I call it The Great Migration. This poem portrays my professional and personal growth after making this report. The Great Migration. Education is writing, writing is education. Writing is both revolutionary and evolutionary. A piece can change the perspective and destiny of a nation, a continent, a kind. Our voice in writing has changed, and it will continue to change. Start writing to start your change, your move. Your move may be the start of a movement. That's all, and thank you very much for listening. Now I open the floor to each and every one of you to ask questions about my research project.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi there. My name is Angelica. I'm from the Philippines and I'm taking the gerontology course. And I really love your topic. I just have a question. Out of your 40 respondents or your participants, are there any immigrant, like Filipino immigrant nurses who experience racism in their while studying nursing?
So thank you for your wonderful. Yeah, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to know specifically which country they're from because of the anonymity design of this research project, and they can only be identified as either Black, Indigenous, or people of color. Yeah.
Great work, James.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was just wondering how many of the chapter or the CNSA schools actually participated.
Ooh, yeah, that's one of the limitations. Thank you for that question. So there are lots of universities who responded to me for like being part of this project, and some of them even got me through their own ethics board and said that yeah, they passed the ethics board already, but then some of them said, or some of the faculty said, we're not supporting your project. So I didn't get an actual number of the actual participants out of 6 to 7, but I could say that at least less than 20 participated. Actual, like the ones who responded to me, but response is not needed in this project. It's just that if they have questions or they have anything to add on in this project, that's when I get communication from them.
Great, thanks.
Hi, James. Well done. I love that presentation. You did such a fantastic job with that. So informative and enjoyable. I really appreciate your recommendations, and I could not agree more. I want to acknowledge that I imagine this work may have had an emotional toll at times, so I might be making an assumption. And I'm wondering if you have any feedback to offer to faculty or to the program regarding ways we could better support students who have a passion and interest in taking on projects that may at the same time be re-traumatizing or triggering, especially when they focus on really heavily abusive structures like racism, ableism, transphobia, homophobia, and that kind of thing.
Thank you, Holly, for that great question. So in terms of recommendation to our local faculty members, actually, Selkirk College and the University of Victoria is pretty good in terms of addressing this issue in our program. I cannot say that it's a perfect program, but I could definitely suggest the inclusion of educational resources, both for faculty members and administrative council. Some of the faculty members even verbalized to me that they themselves have minimal knowledge about addressing racism in their own practice. So yeah, more educational resources for faculty members would definitely help.
Thanks so much, James. We have enough time for maybe one more question if someone has something. There was a ton of amazing feedback in the chat, but I didn't notice any questions. So if you actually did put a question in there, we had about 28 posts that all happened at the same time. So please just open your mic and let us know.
Not really a question, more so of a comment, but James, that poem at the end, it was honestly quite inspiring in the sense that, you know, you're trying to change the narrative. There's been one narrative that has been consistent for years and decades. And the idea of changing that and making it more inclusive is perfect. It was well written overall.
Thanks so much, Marcus. I'm glad that you like it.
Hi, James. It's Tammy Clark.
I
I just want to thank you for your wonderful presentation. So happy to see some of your work coming to fruition. I imagine this is just the start of the amazing contribution you will make to you know, this field, and I love your theory, and I look forward to discussing your recommendations further as it relates to Selkirk College. Very impressed. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Tammy. And yeah, my recommendation is not only for our school, but also for the practice partner sites that we have. Like this would involve like more help for future mentors for Black, Indigenous, and persons of color nursing students, which involve
Mhm.
nationally educated nurses. So yeah, there's a lot of recommendations that I can, yeah, it's still in the process of being published and I'm still in the middle of like knowing how the Microsoft publishing things doing. So yeah, but it's almost done, almost done.
Great, and we're happy to support you along that journey, and however we can help you explore ways to enact your recommendations, explore them further. I look forward to that.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, everyone. James, you've done an amazing job. We all give you high claps and cheers, and we really look forward to seeing more of your work. So I'll invite everybody now to move to the next session, which is number 3. And there's, again, 3 different programs running. Simply click on your Zoom link and enjoy your next presentation.
Thanks, everybody.